Steubenville, Ohio football team rape case. There's word that the students who testified against those two young players accused of assaulting their 16-year-old fellow student have not been granted immunity from prosecution as had previously been reported. So that throws open the possibility that the players who shot those hideous videos, those pictures of the rape victim comatose being handed around, those picture takers may also be prosecuted. So as the local Board of Education urges other student witnesses to come forward, Craig's got the latest on the Big Red rape case.
She is better than Kaylee Anthony.
In a drunken rant that goes viral, ex-Steubenville high school player Michael Nordianos is taped spewing vile nonsense about an intoxicated hometown girl passed around like a rag doll and allegedly raped during a summer party hosted by current players of his former team known locally as Big Red.
That's like rape. It is rape. They raped her.
After the disturbing video and photos of the incapacitated teen are published, the claim is made that the attack has been covered up by corrupt authorities to protect their championship football team. In an exclusive interview, Jefferson County Sheriff Fred Abdallah vehemently denies the charge of cover-up.
99% of it's false. Everybody in Steubenville and Jefferson County are upset and disgusting of the crime itself or the alleged crime.
Drive them all! Drive them all!
Over 1,000 protesters flood courthouse steps last week, a direct response to the social media storm created by the release by cyber vigilantes of the names of the teens involved.
Another piece that they put out there was that you deleted key video evidence in this case.
Ridiculous. The coach told them to turn him over to us. Once we had him in our possession, they were immediately turned over to the Steubenville Police and the Attorney General's office, and on one of the phones there was a picture of the victim naked. That individual has been charged with having that picture on his cell phone.
A series of online blogs and the Occupy Steubenville protests have culminated in a number of death threats, including one to the sheriff investigating the rape of the 16-year-old girl, further dividing this town.
Going to shoot the children at high school, going to murder my family, and rape my daughters.
How does that make you feel?
Well, you know, I'm upset about it. I'm going to deal with that, but I'm upset about it. Do whatever you want to do to me, say whatever you want to say about me, but don't implicate or bring my children into this.
The sheriff says Trent Mays and Malik Richmond, the students accused of sexually abusing the girl, were charged in a timely manner shortly after the alleged victim's parents filed a complaint. It's not the first time. Others, like Amanda Tripanti, claim their cries for justice were also ignored.
In '94, I was raped myself, and the boys were never prosecuted or charged with the rape and assault to me.
What happened?
We went out and we were drinking and partying, and they started to give me pills, and I started blacking out throughout the night, and I had woke up with a stranger on top of me, and he was sodomizing me.
I pulled that file. I didn't handle the case. My investigator did. That girl called two boys to come pick her up. They went out. She admitted in the report she was having sex, drinking, smoking dope, and this was going on and on for quite a while. It was sent up to the prosecutor. I don't know what the outcome of the case was, but no one's ever been denied to come in here and file a report, and we have it investigated.
So they said essentially that this was consensual sex that you had with these boys.
That's correct.
Was one of the boys your boyfriend?
I thought he was at the time, yes. And I did have consensual sex with him that day, earlier.
So how does your case correlate with this case? I mean, how are you involved now?
I am supporting Jane Doe.
What if this was your daughter who was raped?
But I asked myself, if that was my family member, what would I expect from law enforcement? I'd expect them to drop everything they're doing to solve this case, and I've done that, and we've been successful in doing that.
If you had to say something to a young, impressionable girl, 15, 16 years old, going out thinking it's fun and cool to go get drunk or high or whatever, what would you say?
Don't do it. It's not fun. And something like this could very easily happen to you.
And what about to those boys who are out there?
No means no. No means no. And I stand by that. If I'm not able to respond, then it's no. If I don't say yes, then it's no.
I wonder, Craig, if what happened to Amanda isn't going to happen now to this Jane Doe.
Right, exactly.
Consensual, she had it coming, she got stoned,
they'll attack her character, they'll say that she's done it before, they'll say that she's promiscuous, they'll say that she was Trent's girlfriend, which that the attorneys are going after, so they'll attack her character.
Now, one of the problems in this case in Steubenville is what, 40, 50,000 people?
Yeah, but downtown is around 20,000 people.
So everybody knows
everyone. Knows everyone.
So isn't it true that the original prosecutor's son somehow had a connection to this case?
He hosted one of the parties, so the Jefferson County prosecutor had to delegate her authority to the Attorney General. And
he hosted one of the parties that night?
He hosted one of the parties, yeah. So now special prosecutors.
That's why the Attorney General got the case.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons. And, you know, and the sheriff, you know, he's been there for 8 terms, so he knows everyone, too. We were with him when he met one of the fathers of the kids that allegedly took the pictures, right. And they had reported that he was friends with this guy, and we know that he met him for the first time that day.
Craig, thank you very much. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, the Ohio State Attorney General, Mike DeWine. General, thanks for being with us. Tell me your personal reaction at this stage of the investigation, you know, how you personally feel, not just as the top law enforcement officer in Ohio, but as a dad, as a father.
I think what strikes me about this as a father is that the victim has continued to be victimized, frankly, in the social media. Not only having to go through the event itself, but her family now has to put up with seeing things up on the internet. She has to see that. And it's just very, very sad.
The sadness aside, now as you approach the prosecution of this case and you're watching the activities in Steubenville, are you convinced that a full, fair investigation is being conducted?
Well, we're doing the investigation along with the Steubenville Police Department. We were called in August, very early on in the investigation, to assist them. We also were asked in August by the prosecuting attorney in the county to actually take over the investigation because she has a son who is in school, the same school. I think the other thing that I would point out is that the judge who will try the case is a visiting judge. So yes, I think it's been a very fair investigation. We have 2 people who have been charged with a very, very serious offense. They will go to trial. Our investigation continues, but candidly, we're getting fairly close to actually closing out that investigation.
Did the status of the defendants as members of the football team indeed factually impair or impede this investigation, at least in the early stages?
I have no indication at all that the fact that these were football players in any way impacted the investigation at all. What is different about this, and I think one of the reasons you're seeing so much attention is, frankly, the social media. And as the prosecutor in this case, I have an obligation not to let the social media interfere with what we're doing or impact what we're doing, nor all the rumors that are now floating around. And we just are focused on this case.
Is it not true that it appears as if a consent defense is being formulated?
I think it's proper for me not to talk about the state of the evidence. We would not have brought this case unless we believe the evidence shows what we have alleged. But ultimately, this is going to be decided by a judge who will listen to the evidence beginning on the 13th day of February, and he will make that decision based upon all the evidence that has been being presented.
But given the fact that the 2 alleged perpetrators, the principal people involved, were members of the exalted football team, isn't it fair to say that the case has been handled differently than if, say, they were members of the chess squad?
No, I really don't think so. You know, I know that allegation has been made, but I've seen nothing in this investigation that we would have handled this any differently. We would not have been any different, no matter who it was.
Granted, you still have some interviews to conduct, but it sounds from the tone, General Dewine, that you have concluded that there are 2 people, perpetrators involved, and only 2.
In regard to the actual crime itself, not the aftermath, as far as we can tell, we're done with this investigation. There is an aftermath to it, and that investigation continues.
And are you convinced that you have the evidence to convict?
We believe the evidence, we have the evidence, but ultimately, as you know, this is going to be up to the trier of fact, and in this case, it's a very experienced juvenile court judge from Cincinnati.
Would you like to address the parents of the victim in this case?
Well, my heart goes out to them. It goes out to any victim. What we saw on tape, what the public saw 6 or 7 days ago, which we had already seen, a young man, a relatively young man who wasn't apparently even there at the time, but is denigrating this victim, making fun of her. That's just disgusting. And I think it's just so very, very sad. And I'm sorry that occurred and that anybody has to put up with that.
Well, me too. Thank you very much, Attorney General Mike DeWine. Thank you very much.